In the heart of a bustling Nigerian village, young DK was born into a world already filled with whispers and disdain. His existence was marred by the shadow of being labeled a bastard, a child born out of wedlock. From the moment he entered the world, he was met with coldness and rejection, not from strangers, but from his own family. His mother, a woman whose name was never spoken in connection with him, bore the weight of societal scorn silently. She did her best to shield DK from the harsh realities of their situation, but it was impossible to shield him from the disdain of his relatives. As DK grew, so did the hostility towards him. He was blamed for every misfortune that befell the family, his presence a constant reminder of shame. Despite his mother's love and efforts to protect him, the rejection from his family took its toll on DK. He longed for acceptance, for a place where he belonged, but it seemed that such a place did not exist for him in the village. And so, one fateful day, he was cast out, disowned by the very people who were supposed to love and care for him. DK was left with nothing but the clothes on his back and a heart heavy with sorrow as he ventured out into the unknown, determined to make his own way in the world. Alone and filled with uncertainty, DK embarked on a journey to the city, hoping to find a new life far from the judgmental eyes of the village. The city greeted him with its chaotic streets and towering buildings, a stark contrast to the simplicity of village life. Determined to make ends meet, DK sought out any work he could find. He took on odd jobs, working long hours for meaner pay. Despite the challenges, he refused to give up, fueled by a fierce determination to prove his worth and carve out a place for himself in the world. After weeks of searching, DK finally landed a job as a cleaner in a large company. The work was demanding and often thankless, but DK was grateful for the opportunity it provided. He threw himself into his work, determined to excel despite the odds stacked against him. However, life in the city was not easy for DK. He faced constant prejudice and disdain from both his co-workers and the people he encountered. They looked down on him, treating him as inferior because of his humble background. Despite the animosity, DK remained steadfast, refusing to let their judgment break his spirit. As time passed, DK's hard work and dedication began to pay off. He earned a reputation for being reliable and hardworking, slowly earning the respect of some of his co-workers. However, there was one person who remained indifferent to DK's efforts: the CEO of the company, a stern and unyielding man who showed no kindness to anyone, least of all a lowly cleaner. Despite the challenges he faced, DK remained determined to make the most of his situation. Little did he know that his life was about to take an unexpected turn, one that would change everything he thought he knew about himself and past. One day, a rumor spread through the company that the CEO had fallen ill and was in urgent need of a blood transfusion. The news sent a wave of concern through the employees and were eager to help their boss in any way they could. As word of the CEO's condition spread, the employees gathered in the hospital, offering their blood for the transfusion. However, to their dismay, none of them were a match for the CEO's rare blood type. The atmosphere was tense and the employees realized that time was running out and their boss' life hung in the balance. Among the crowd, DK watched with a heavy heart. Despite the CEO's cold demeanor towards him, he knew that he couldn't stand by and do nothing. Without hesitation, he stepped forward and offered his blood for the transfusion, not knowing if it would be a match. To everyone's surprise, DK's blood was a perfect match for the CEO's. The room was filled with a mix of shock and relief as the doctors prepared for the transfusion. As DK lay on the hospital bed, donating his blood, the CEO watched in silence, his eyes filled with a mix of emotions. It was then that the truth was revealed. The CEO, overcome with emotion, revealed that he was DK's father, the man who had abandoned him as a child. DK was stunned, unable to comprehend the magnitude of what he had just learned. The CEO too was shocked, realizing the gravity of his past actions and the pain he had caused his son. As the transfusion took place, father and son locked eyes, their hearts heavy with regret and longing. It was a moment of reckoning, a moment that would change our lives forever. And as the transfusion ended, a new chapter began for DK and his father, one filled with forgiveness, reconciliation, and a newfound appreciation for the power of family. As DK lay in the hospital bed, recovering from the blood donation, a heavy silence filled the room. The CEO, still reeling from the revelation that DK was a son, struggled to find the words to express his remorse. DK too was overwhelmed by the revelation, his mind racing with questions and emotions. After a long moment, the CEO broke the silence. "I'm sorry, DK," he said with his voice filled with regret. "I'm sorry for everything I've done, for abandoning you, for not being there for you when you needed me." DK listened in disbelief, his heart aching with a mix of anger and sadness. He had spent so many years feeling rejected and unwanted, only to discover that his own father was the source of his pain. The CEO continued, his voice filled with sincerity. "I know I can never undo the past, but I want to make things right. I want to be a father to you, to make up for all the lost time." DK was torn. Part of him wanted to push his father away, to reject him as he had been rejected. But another part of him longed for the love and acceptance he had never known. As he pondered his father's words, DK's thoughts turned to his mother. She had raised him single-handedly, bearing the weight of society's judgment with grace and dignity. Despite everything, she had always loved him unconditionally. He knew that she would want him to forgive his father, to give him a chance to make amends. With a heavy heart, DK nodded. "I forgive you, Father," he said softly. "I want to give us a chance to start over, to build a new relationship based on love and forgiveness." Tears welled up in the CEO's eyes as he embraced the son for the first time. It was a moment of reconciliation, a moment that brought healing to both father and son. As they left the hospital together, DK and his father began a new chapter in their lives. It was a journey filled with challenges and obstacles, but they faced them together, united by a bond that had been broken but never truly lost. And so DK's story became a testament to the power of forgiveness and reconciliation, showing that even the deepest wounds can be healed with love and understanding. As DK and his father embarked on their journey of reconciliation, The news of their newfound relationship spread throughout the company and the village. It was a story that captured the hearts of many, a tale of redemption and forgiveness that inspired all who heard it. In the weeks and months that followed, DK and his father worked tirelessly to rebuild their relationship. They spent hours talking, sharing stories, and getting to know each other. DK learned about his father's life and the challenges he had faced, while his father listened intently to DK's dreams and aspirations. Slowly but surely, the rift that had once divided them began to heal. The CEO, now a changed man, showed DK the love and affection he had longed for, making up for lost time. DK, in turn, embraced his role as a son, grateful for the chance to finally have a father in his life. As their bond grew stronger, DK's father made a decision that would change both of their lives forever. He appointed DK as his successor, grooming him to take over the company one day. It was a gesture of trust and love, a way for the CEO to show his son that he believed in him and his abilities. The news was met with mixed reactions from the employees, who had once looked down on DK. Some were skeptical, doubting his ability to lead, while others were inspired by his story of redemption. But DK remained undeterred, determined to prove himself worthy of his father's trust. Under DK's leadership, the company thrived, becoming a beacon of success and prosperity in the city. DK's story became a legend, a tale of how a young man, once rejected and despised, had risen above the circumstances to become a leader and a role model. And so, father and son stood side by side, their past grievances forgotten, their hearts filled with love and gratitude. It was a new beginning for both of them, a chance to rewrite their story and create a future filled with hope and promise.